Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Pence, and welcome to the Pondering the Faith podcast. This is episode 1, and I'm so glad you guys joined us. So, today we're talking about all things Pondering the Faith podcast, why I started it, and just a little about me. And I'll kind of go into my testimony. Well, I decided to start this podcast because I basically want to do this for a long time now. And I had this idea like a few months ago now, but I've been putting it off, so I'm finally now starting it, and yeah. So, I really just, my idea about starting this podcast, I just want to share the faith, and, I was inspired by a few other Catholic podcasts to do this. So, yeah, I'm doing this now. And so this is mainly going to be kind of for Catholic teens, but anybody can watch it, anybody can learn about the Catholic faith. So, the main focus of this podcast is for Catholic teens, because I did not find any podcasts for Catholic teens, and I wanted to start one. So, yeah, it's kind of why I started pondering the faith. But yeah, and kind of why I chose the name is, I don't know, just like randomly, kind of like when I was kind of praying on what I should name it, it kind of spoke to me, pondering the faith. And that's what we're doing. We're pondering the faith. We are pondering what it means to be Catholic, and we're just pondering the faith of the Catholic Church. And there's a lot to ponder about the faith, but the faith we're pondering about is the Catholic Church faith, which is the one true faith. And so, yeah, that's kind of why I started the Pondering the Faith podcast and kind of why we chose the name and all that. But yeah. And so I hope, as this podcast goes, we'll bring on special guests. But I think the first few episodes would just be me talking about various podcasts. And maybe, that'll inspire some people to come on this podcast and be our special guest. But anyways, yeah. I'll just kind of say I love being Catholic so much, and I love talking about faith, which again is why I started this podcast. So, a little bit about what we'll talk about. Just different things. I want to do a episode more, I guess, about vocations and just various topics. And yeah, if you have any ideas, let me know. But basically, kind of start with my testimony. Well, when I was younger, during kind of a little bit during COVID, I kind of lost my faith, and basically, fast forward, I almost become atheist. I start kind of, questioning, is there a God? And I realized there definitely is a God. But, because, I started questioning the faith first, and I started questioning the whole Christianity until I, was like, hey, I should be Christian, God's real, all that. And so then I go searching through Christianity. I go to these various churches, find these various faiths. I research. I come across the Baptist church. My neighbor invites me. I start going regularly, which makes me want to be a Baptist. So I become a Baptist. And yeah, this is not a fundamental Baptist church. And they're stricter than the Catholics, I know. So yeah. Anyways, so I become a fundamentalist Baptist. Fun times. But it's because I have access to it. I had access to a Catholic church. It just, I questioned the Catholic Church. I didn't think it was real. So, for at the time, wasn't really an option for me. So I become Baptist. Eventually get saved, which their definition of salvation. And yeah. And I did that for a few years, basically most of middle school. And then one day I just kind of realized, like, hey, this is wrong. What they believe is not true. I come back to the Catholic Church. I find out that the Catholic Church is the true church. And yeah, and that's kind of basically how I became Catholic again. But for a while, for like a few months, I was both Catholic and Baptist, which I don't know how that worked. But basically, like, that was kind of when I was starting to go back into the Catholic faith. I believed half what Catholics believe, half what Baptists believe. Basically, most of the Catholic faith is just I was still, the only thing that was different that I believed in, I still believed in the Baptist definition of salvation. I didn't believe anything else they believed, and I believed everything else the Catholic believed. So basically, it was both until I realized, like, hey, that definition of salvation is wrong. And yeah, and then I become fully Catholic, and yeah, and now I am a devout Catholic. Just got confirmed in May, and it's been amazing. And that's a little bit of my testimony, really quick, but yeah. And so, kind of just why I started this podcast. I just want to share the faith, and yeah. And the plan is on my YouTube channel in I might do YouTube channel, might do more, Catholic content. But yeah, and so I got. I'll probably post on my main YouTube channel. I don't know if I'll make a main YouTube channel yet. Plan is one day go on Spotify, all that. For right now, we'll just stay on YouTube and go from there. But anyways, I'm gonna start posting more on Instagram and TikTok. I'll post on the Pondering Faith podcast account, my personal accounts, and yeah, um, just gonna start doing more Catholic content. Also, I might start doing public speaking. I would love to do that. If you'd like me to come to a parish near you, I'll do anything. Youth groups, confirmation prep classes, First Holy Communion classes. Yeah, maybe even say I don't know if that's allowed, probably not. But yeah. Anyways, that's just a little bit about my testimony, and yeah. So that's all I got. And so another reason why I started is 'cause I feel like as teens, our faith is starts as our parents' faith, but you got to make it your own faith. And I just think that's kind of like a struggle with today's Catholics. Teens is the faith isn't our faith, and that's why a lot of Catholic teens leave the faith because they did not explore the faith for themselves. But then later on, they eventually come back because they find out the Catholic Church is the true church. I'm glad I did this at a young age. But I know a lot of older people who were cradle Catholics, which means they grew up Catholic. But then later on, they left and they came back much later. I know personal people in my life who that was their story. I'm glad I did that at a younger age, and that my leaving the church was only a few years and not many years, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and I think about being Baptist is I learned different perspectives, because I feel like when you grow up Catholic, you only know Catholic teachings, and when you've experienced other faiths, it's easier to debate, something like a Baptist. I know what Baptists believe, and I know it's wrong, and I know why it's wrong, and I also know Catholic faith, so I can debate a Baptist really well. Can I debate a Mormon? No, not as well. Um, I can't debate it Orthodox at all. Can't do it, because there's only a few different beliefs that are different, and like those are beliefs where I'm like, yeah, it's kind of hard to debate unless you know it really well, because it's like really hard theological stuff. So yeah. Now Baptist, I can like knock that out of the ballpark. I can be like, hey, case closed, the end. Also, non-denominational churches. I went to for a while. There's no theological. Um, I will say, debating a Baptist is harder than debating a non-denominational, because a non-denominational, they have no theology. So, case closed, the end. Only say a few words, you're done. Baptist, it's hard because they actually have theology, but it's easy to debate because, they lack theology still. But, yeah. And so, yeah, and it's, I think being Baptist and being, Catholic and all that it really just really just taught me what I know today. And obviously, I'm grateful that I was raised Catholic. Because if I wasn't raised Catholic, I don't think I ever would have known to go back to the Catholic Church. I might have probably became Catholic. It'd be just much later. And yeah. And now I'm confirmed, and I think it's just so amazing. Such an amazing experience. And yeah. And I feel like when I went back into the faith, I was like, I just wanted to get confirmed right away. But then, another like 2 years, and then I got confirmed. It's really great. Yeah. And that's kind of how my preteen to being a teen, and how I went from Catholic to Baptist to Catholic and Baptist to just Catholic, and now a devout Catholic who is confirmed. So that's really exciting. And so yeah. I think just this whole podcast about what it means to be Catholic, what it means, basically what the Catholic Church faith means. It's more for teens, just so they can grow in their faith, and yeah. And I actually originally was gonna, my name was originally Pondering Faith Catholic Podcast. My confirmation teacher was like, you should name it Pondering the Catholic Faith, well, one of them podcasts. And I'm like, I could, but that name's kind of long, and yeah. And also, people when they see the name Pondering the Faith podcast, they want to know what faith are we pondering. They watch it, and they watch the full thing. Maybe they'll be inspired to be Catholic. Now, if they see Pondering the Catholic Faith, if they're not Catholic, they might not click on it. So, kind of the name is more appealing to get people to come. And and because people are curious when they see Pondering the Faith, they want to know what faith are we pondering, and then they find out, and then maybe become Catholic. And so my other goal about this podcast is I want to be an OCA sponsor, and I want to do more. And that's the goal. I also want to teach confirmation, and so just to get me ready for that is this, because we'll talk more about like confirmation stuff, more about what it means to become Catholic and all that. And so I think I'm gonna do a whole episode on becoming Catholic and all that, and basically, just confirmation and all that. And I'll do more on different things. Just let me know. Yes, the episode will be a little shorter just because I don't really have anything to talk about. I just wanted to, introduce myself, introduce the podcast, and we also need special guests. I would love to have special guests on here and like talk about different things. And that's all I got. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Jacob Pence with the Pondering the Faith podcast.